When you're a writer, you spend most of the time by yourself. You're sitting at the computer or you're taking walks or you're thinking about your next book. And then you go out in the world, you interview somebody, and then you get to write about them. And then you come back into your little world and all. And I've never been bored with my life.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dustin Richardson from the Burbank International Film Festival, and today we continue our interview series, Real Conversations, with special guest Lawrence Grobel. Larry has been an amazing voice in the entertainment industry for years as a talented novelist, journalist, screenwriter, poet, and adventurer. He's written over 30 books and for several national magazines and newspapers. Some of his work includes books on iconic talent such as Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, Barbra Streisand, and Meryl Streep. That's quite a list, but it doesn't end there. He has been fortunate to have spent time with some of the most fascinating people in the world and has so many amazing stories to tell. And today we get to hear from Larry himself. Hello, Larry. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm fine, Dustin. Nice to meet you and see you.
Yes, nice to see you too. So you've had so many amazing experiences interviewing and working on the life stories of so many celebrities. And I'm just curious, who are some of your favorite people you've gotten to meet and why did they stand out to you?
It's hard to say who my favorites are because it often changes, but usually it's the people I ended up writing books about, Brando and Pacino and James Michener, Truman Capote, John Huston. Those are the people that kind of stand out. But also, I've always been fascinated by writers, and I got to know J.P. Donlevy, who was a favorite novelist of mine, and I got to spend time with him, and he came to my house a number of times, and Joyce Carol Oates, and Elmore Leonard, and Allen Ginsberg. So there's a Saul Bellow was a thrill to go and interview. So it's hard to say about favorites. It's like someone asked me if I had one interview to do anyone in the world, who would it be? And I made a list of about 8 or so. And then I realized if I'm sitting at a table or invited guests, I would say Oscar Wilde would be a great one because he was so entertaining. Whereas I would love to sit with James Joyce, but I have a feeling he wouldn't talk very much. So it's difficult to say who's the favorite. But the people I mentioned are all people I really enjoyed. Dolly Parton. I enjoyed her immensely. I liked being around her. Pacino and I became close. That was unusual. Elliot Gould and I became close. Diane Keaton became a friend. And I never interviewed Diane. I just got to know her when she was dating Al and all. I would never give up my time with Marlon Brando, for instance, and just spending the time with him. John Huston once told me the thing that bothered him most in life was boredom. He just didn't want to be bored. So even when he was ill in the last year and a half of his life that I was with him, whenever he went into the hospital, he would call me and say, "Come on over, Larry, come on over." He just he couldn't stand being there, but the thing he couldn't stand most was just being there. He just couldn't be active. He could listen to books on tape, he could read, but, his mind wasn't being as challenged. And so, I used to go there and I'm pretty much the same way. I feel I'm, when you're a writer, you spend most of the time by yourself. You're sitting at the computer or you're taking walks or you're thinking about your next book. And then you go out in the world, you interview somebody, and then you get to write about them. And then you come back into your little world and all. And I've never been bored with my life. I've never just had nothing to do. I always have something to do. If it's a new story idea or something I want to read, or something even if it's to go out and garden a little bit, and I think I take that from John. I've always taken that as something I understood and feel the same way.
Was there anyone you interviewed that ever made you starstruck, or were you always just very comfortable doing that type of work?
Yeah. I mean, the first time I went to see Truman Capote, he lived across the street from the UN, and he wanted to meet at the Le Petit Marmite restaurant. It's a French restaurant. And I remember, flying to New York and walking around the block and thinking, I appreciated his writing a lot. I thought he was a really great writer. He didn't write much, but his words were very well put together. I guess I've been starstruck in a certain way with everybody, because you never know what to expect from anybody. So, but not to the point where I couldn't talk. The only person who ever took my breath away was Dolly Parton, the first time I met her, because that's like meeting Jessica Rabbit. I mean, she was, she's small. She's only 5 feet tall, but she has the hair that's 5 inches. She got 4-inch heels on. So she's, basically looking at you in your height. And she's so friendly. And, the first thing I did was hug her. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm with her, that kind of stuff. I wasn't starstruck with Barbra Streisand because she reminded me of my sister a lot. I mean, I had a lot of battles with my sister over the years. And Barbara and I ended up doing a lot of battling too, but we went at it, over months. Every time I would see her, we have some kind of argument. But then we settle in and do the interview. So Saul Bellow, people whose writing I really, really admired. I would take some deep breaths before I'd go in. Because you have to go in as an interviewer as if you are as smart as they are or as knowledgeable. And you're usually not, I mean, you are if you're prepared. I've always felt secure if I was prepared. But when you go to see Linus Pauling, who won 2 Nobel Prizes, or Bellow, who won a Nobel Prize, or Richard Feynman, who won the Nobel Prize for physics, it's audacious to think, oh, I can go one-on-one with these people and come out alive. But in a sense, I have to believe that when I go there. And that means my preparation has to be such that even though I don't understand quantum physics too much, I still read a book about quantum physics before I see them, just so I can understand some of the words and some of the language if we get into that. The more I prepared for someone, if I was a movie star, I'd see all the movies they made. I'd read every interview and every profile about that person that I could find. I would talk to people who worked with them. And so it's a lot of preparation for just an interview. And I know a lot of people think I was like crazy. Mark Maron interviewed me on his WTF podcast, and he kept saying, "You must be really, mad at me. You probably really hate me." I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, because I do what you do, except I don't prepare for it. I don't do the research you did. I said, "Listen, more power to you if you don't have to, but that's just, everybody has a different way of working." And to me, I'm very good at small talk, but I don't think the world needs to have more small talk between me and Joyce Carol Oates or Elmore Leonard or Norman Mailer. I think, I need to read their work. I need to know what they're thinking. And I think that's what people expect when they want to read about those people.
Thank you for watching the Burbank International Film Festival's Real Conversations. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And learn everything you need to know about the festival at burbankfilmfest.org.